I was having a chat with some buddies of mine that I met at a variety of cryptocurrency conferences. In this particular group, there are no absurdly wealthy people. It's not like any of these guys bought 10,000 Bitcoin at $1 and then sold at 50K. But all of them have had enough success in crypto to quit their day jobs. Some of them did the soft retirement thing, and others used the things that they learned to get hired in the industry full time. Success is a funny thing, and it's caused the people in this group to develop some pretty strong opinions about various crypto projects. Some think that ETH is going to 25K next cycle, and others think that ETH Layer 2's sidechains and competing Layer 1s will mean that ETH never hits a new all-time high again. Some think that XRP is a banker's coin, that Ripple is the worst thing ever, and others think that XRP is going to be the standard, because it's a banker's coin. Some think that Chainlink CCIP will be the herald of a new era, that Link is going to be $1,000 per token, and others think that oracles are just a meme. The point being, they don't really agree on anything. Well, almost anything. I brought up that I think that GRT, which is currently under 10 cents, is going to hit or exceed its all-time high of approximately $2.50 sometime between December of 2024 to February of 2025. And I was asked about why GRT and why early 2025. And I gave the simple answer that the Bitcoin supercycle is predicted to top out around then, and that the following weeks will have all the money moving into alts. And I got a really weird response. Well, duh. That's the lowest IQ play in crypto. Everyone knows that, right? So I did some looking on crypto Twitter and YouTube, and no, everyone does not know what the Bitcoin supercycle is, or when it happens, or what causes these insane bull markets. So I decided to make a video on it, because the Bitcoin chart isn't random, or at least it's not entirely random. There is a steadily observable mechanism that is based on supply and demand, which causes these massive run-ups. They are timely and predictable, and it's the Bitcoin block reward halving. That's the actual mechanism. So we're going to talk about what that is and why it makes these price charts go nuts. The basics are simple: supply and demand. If demand stays the same and supply goes down, then the price must go up. So let's look at the Bitcoin price chart with the idea of supply and demand in mind. This chart has 4 years and 1 month of Bitcoin's price action. Starting from May of 2010, it's steady, 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 and then suddenly a massive spike. This is the next 4 years and 1 month of Bitcoin's price. That previous all-time high of 1200 is now scaled down to here. And it's steady, 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 and then suddenly a massive spike. Here's the next 4 years. That previous all-time high of 20K is now scaled down to here. And it's steady, 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 and then suddenly a massive spike. And here is the current 4-year Bitcoin chart. The previous all-time high of 70K is scaled down to here, and it's steady, 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 and I wonder what happens next. And when? Is there any event, measurable or predetermined, that could cause... It's the Bitcoin block halving. Bitcoin miners mine for Bitcoin. And when they do so successfully, the amount of Bitcoin they get is predetermined. It's not random. The person who solves the block, the person who actually mines it, gets 6.25 Bitcoin. 6.25. Why that amount specifically? When the Bitcoin blockchain was created, the amount of Bitcoin you would get from mining was 50 Bitcoin. Then, after 210,000 blocks had been mined, which is about 4 years and 1 month, the reward gets cut in half. So from 50 to 25. Then another 210,000 blocks get mined, and again it takes about 4 years and 1 month for this to happen. And then the block reward gets cut in half from 25 to 12.5. And then another 4 years, and it gets cut from 12.5 to 6.25. And that's what the reward is right now. It has been 3 years and 6 months since the last Bitcoin block reward was cut in half. So in around 192 days, the reward will go from 6.25 to 3.125. That was a lot of information. Let's look at these charts again, and this time we're going to mark where the Bitcoin block reward halving happens. So let's take a look at the first real Bitcoin bull run in 2014. This chart is 4 years and 1 month long, and here is where the reward went from 50 Bitcoin per block to 25 Bitcoin per block. Now the next chart. Again, 4 years and 1 month in duration. Here is where the reward went from 25 Bitcoin per block to 12.5. Next chart. Again, another 4 years and 1 month in duration. Here is where the Bitcoin reward went from 12.5 per block to 6.25 per block. And finally, this is the current chart that we are still experiencing, and this is when the next Bitcoin block halving will occur, in approximately April of 2024. If you take all of the price charts and overlay them, and their corresponding halvings, this is what it looks like. Noticing a pattern here? And if you take these three charts and you use them as reference for filling out the current cycle, you get this. So how does supply and demand fit into all of this? Well, in 2012, when the reward was 50 Bitcoin per block, the price was crabbing, because Bitcoin miners were selling 50 Bitcoin per block to make up for their electricity costs. After a while, the supply of 50 Bitcoin per block had a demand of 50 Bitcoin per block, and an equilibrium price was found, which is why the market was crabbing for almost a year. Then the supply went from 50 Bitcoin per block to 25 Bitcoin per block, and demand stayed the same. So the price started pumping, and pumps get news, and the speculators come in, and the mania, and the price eventually crashes back down because the supply of 25 Bitcoin per block just doesn't have enough long-term demand. Then 3 years go by, and the supply of 25 Bitcoin per block has finally found its demand of 25 Bitcoin per block, and the price is crabbing for like a whole year. And then the supply goes from 25 Bitcoin per block to 12.5 Bitcoin per block. And then the pump, and the news, and the mania, and the all-time high, and then the crash. And the cycle repeats again in 2021, wherein the whole year leading up to the block halving, Bitcoin was crabbing. And then the supply got cut in half, and then poompa, and news, and mania, and then a crash. And right now, October 15th, 2023, we are just 6 months away from another Bitcoin block halving. And what has the price been doing for the last 6 months? Sideways. Straight sideways. And what is it gonna do for the next 6 months? Sideways. And then the Bitcoin block halving is going to happen, and supply is going to get cut in half. Now, I'm not actually sure what the next Bitcoin all-time high is going to be. I don't really make price predictions. I created this graph by using my math degree to make a line of best fit based on the 3 prior Bitcoin cycles. But what I do know is that this price action isn't random. For the last 6 months, every 10 minutes, 6.25 Bitcoin have been mined, which is approximately $200,000 worth of Bitcoin. And the miners sell this Bitcoin to cover their electricity costs. And the price has been going straight sideways. For 6 months, there has been $200,000 of Bitcoin sell pressure, and the price hasn't moved because there is a corresponding $200,000 worth of buy pressure. We have reached an equilibrium price. And in 6 more months, that sell pressure is going to get cut in half. And that buy pressure isn't going to change at all. And when Bitcoin breaks 100,000 for the first time during a presidential election year, everyone will be talking about it. So imagine it's December of 2024. Bitcoin is way above its previous all-time high, and you feel like now is the time to sell. So you send your crypto to a trustworthy, centralized exchange, because nothing bad has ever happened on a centralized cryptocurrency exchange, and it's gone. Your money is gone. This line is for people who have crypto in our exchange. Please get out of the way. Don't do that. Use CarbonDefi.xyz. It's a non-custodial, decentralized trading protocol. There is no maker fee. When your order gets filled, you don't pay gas. And if you're like me and you don't even want to try to time the top, you can use their industry-exclusive range order feature, which lets you set a range to scale in or out of a position without any chance of order reversal or MEV shenanigans. And be sure to subscribe, because the next video is going to be about how the Bitcoin block halving really messes up a lot of the metrics that traditional financial institutions use to track assets, and how that leads to even more speculation and price movement. See you then.